Back to Heroes of Nottingham. We're here to talk about the awesome OP announcements and Set 4 announcements from today's Lorcana cast. I'm Zach Weaver, and I'm joined by...
Hi, I'm Brandon Nash.
Yeah. And how are you feeling? You excited?
I'm very excited. So we got this big lore drop with Ursula's return.
Yeah.
The
Apparently
big bad.
Ursula's been the big bad all along, huh?
Yeah. And it's been pretty interesting, too, because on some of the cards, apparently, they've been spoiling a little story to us over time.
Yeah, they mentioned Mickey Mouse Detective on the stream. Have you been looking at any other ones?
So I was always curious why Minnie Mouse Wide-Eyed Diver from Set 2, it was like in the flavor text, it says something about how she discovered something and she looked shocked. And I was looking in the background. I'm like, why does it just look like Ursula's cave? Like, what is happening here? And it turns out that it was Ursula. I don't know.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It really makes you think about like going in the past, like how many Ursula cards there are, and like people are like, why are there so many Ursula cards? It's weird. Like,
Yeah, it's true.
And now we know why. Ursula was the big bad. I think that they might have been almost a little disappointed that people didn't figure it out faster. But it's cool. I'm excited to see where the story continues to go from here after the first big arc.
True.
And speaking of that, with Ursula being the big bad, they spoiled the first Lumineer's Quest, which is a new co-op set where you play with like a friend against Ursula as a big bad, and
I think it'll be fun.
Yeah,
personally, you can play whatever casual deck you want, or maybe you want to defeat Ursula as quickly as possible. I don't know. It seems like this could be something fun for casual players and some sort of racy thing for competitive players. You know?
Sure. I agree. It will probably be fun. I think it's neat that there's like a hard mode and an easy mode for if you're like more competitively minded. There's multiple scenarios to play through, which is kind of neat.
That is cool.
Yeah. And I know that there's an exclusive thing for when you beat Ursula, you get like a special
something.
Yeah.
You get something in a pouch, a card, but they wouldn't tell us what.
Yeah, so. They made very clear, they're like, no spoilers, and if you figure it out, don't tell anybody.
Right. Yeah, good luck. I'm excited.
Yeah. And the other big thing is there's a couple cards in there that are unique only to the Lumineer's Quest itself, which is very interesting.
It is interesting. I hope that means they're not too hard to get. That's something I'm concerned about. But these cards do seem very cool, very strong. It's unclear at this moment in time whether or not you can play with them in tournaments.
Yes.
There's a lot of questions about that. But the cards seem very good and very fun to play with. So.
Especially the Mulan in particular seems really good, and I'm very interested to see how those go and if they are allowed to play them, because that really means that for like competitively minded players, you're going to probably just have to buy 4 Lumineer's Quests for yourself, which feels a little bad for like people that just want to get it for fun.
Yeah.
Like if all these competitive players are having to buy 4 copies of everything to get their Mulans for their constructed deck, like that's going to potentially lead to some feel bads, but
true.
But I'm excited for it nonetheless. It'll be a neat experiment, and I hope they continue to do them going forward.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. It's just a different approach to the game. I mean, not everyone, you and I are competitive players. We like to play good, strong decks that are, edge out other decks and stuff, but some players just want to play with other people and have fun and stuff, and this is the perfect kind of product for that.
I agree. In the video, they talked a lot about the guests they had on talked a lot about how they were more casually minded and don't like playing competitively, and this gives them the perfect opportunity to still play Lorcana cards and just like hang out at home and just be like, let's battle against Ursula and just like play whatever random deck we want to play.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. It also something too is it's a better opportunity maybe for very new players to learn mechanics of the game without losing games or whatever.
Yeah.
So
like if say me or you has one of these and you want to teach someone new to play Lorcana, this is a perfect way to do it. You can be your buddy with them, so you can be like, hey, maybe like let's use our ink to do this or whatever. Like they can think about these different things and kind of help them learn the mechanics of the game, which is great.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because sometimes it's hard to play 1v1 and teach someone how to play because you're like...
Yeah, you don't want to look at their hands, and then like you tell them to do something, and then it didn't work out, and they're like, "Oh, you set me up." It's like, well, I wasn't trying to. You
right.
know?
Yeah. Cool. Well, you want to talk about some of the new cards?
Yeah, let's talk about some of the new cards. So, do you want to talk about the ones in the co-op mode, or do you want to talk about some of the spoilers from this set?
We can start with the co-op mode since we were just talking about it.
Okay.
Specifically, the Mulan that I mentioned earlier. 6 mana, 6 ink, 2/6 quest 2, Floodborn for Mulans. So shift 5, and it says if it shifts, it gets +3 strength until end of turn.
So it becomes a 5/6.
Yeah, so it becomes a 5/6. And on top of that, during your turn, whenever this character deals damage to another character in a challenge, deal that same amount of damage to up to 2 other chosen characters. Very powerful.
Very powerful.
On base level, just reading it. So you shift this in, attack for 5 on whatever they have exerted, and then deal 5 to 2 of their other things, probably wiping out 3 characters.
Yeah. It's an even stronger Maui. I could also see an application for this where maybe you don't have the +3 and you challenge one of their characters and put 2 damage on one of your own characters and maybe Rapunzel off the 2 damage or something.
Sure.
I don't know if it says opposing characters, but it's a lot of interesting
it just
things.
says other chosen characters.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, you could do 2 on one of your own characters, play Rapunzel, draw some cards. Yeah, that's pretty neat synergies. That's a really good thing to do on, like, you shift it on 5, attack, kill some of their stuff. Then next turn you have just a 2/6, and you're trying to get in and get some value. Because the Rapunzel will either have some damage on it already, or you can start damaging your own things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Seems pretty interesting. It's like it's a different Tinkerbell in red rather than steel. This thing is definitely being able to enter and deal 5 damage to 3 different characters simultaneously is extremely powerful. Like,
it definitely can potentially give some of those ruby-based non-amethyst, non-amber decks like a way to clear boards and stuff. Like say you're playing Ruby Emerald, right? Ruby Emerald has a really big problem with getting rid of untapped characters. This can actually come down, attack their exerted thing, and then clear 2 things.
Yeah.
That you wouldn't otherwise be able to mess with.
Yeah, it's very strong. It's also a legendary rarity, which is
yeah.
I mean, it's unique to this co-op product, so I'm not really sure what the rarity even indicates, other than maybe it's power, uniqueness.
Yeah, either power, uniqueness. It might be like there's a one of. Sometimes sets will do that. Like legendary will be a one of in the product, and then a common or an uncommon might be a 2 or a 3 of.
Fair enough.
Similar to the starter decks, like currently.
Yeah.
Where you get like 2 of every uncommon and 3 of every common.
Yeah. And then you get 1 of the rares, double rare. You get 1 double rare, I think, in each starter deck.
I think you get 2 different rares.
Okay.
Like you get like 1 fox and 1 rabbit.
Okay. And then, but
you might get 4 rares total.
And then the Merlin, yeah.
Because you get the Merlin.
Yeah,
whatever. But regardless, very cool card there. Very excited to play with that one. And then the other legendary is Yensid, finally coming to Lorcana for the first time. Disney himself.
It's also interesting. They've been suggesting that there would be some sort of like purple steel, some amethyst steel like broom synergies since set 1 with Broom and Mickey, and then they add the other broom that still synergizes with Mickey, and then they add the Sorcerer's Tower in set 3. So they've been telling us something's coming.
With 3 other brooms. Because there's the big sweeper and like
I don't even know what they're.
Yeah, there's 3 different ones.
But they've been giving it to us for a little while, and now they're showing us kind of the payoff, I guess, some of the surprise, synergies for all that.
For sure, I think that's one of the biggest cards that would be a miss if you couldn't play it in Constructed, if you couldn't play it with the Yensid.
For sure.
But let's go ahead and read it just so we're all talking about it. It's 2 ink, inkable, 1/3. Quest for 1. When you play this character, if you have a character named Magic Broom in play, you may draw a card. And when you have 2 or more Broom characters in play, this character gets +2 lore. So quest for 3. Perfectly fine card.
Yeah.
A 2 mana 1/3 that quest for 3 is a powerful Lorcana card.
Right.
That's basically Piglet Pooh Pirate Captain is kind of similar.
But you get to draw a card when it enters.
But you get to draw a card when it enters, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty strong. I mean, there's definitely deck building limitations with this kind of card, but
For sure.
Assuming, and something we were talking about beforehand, hopefully there's a 1-drop broom in this set. But assuming there is a 1-drop broom, I mean, this card could be pretty powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we also, as just an extra bonus card, we got a Mickey Mouse Playful Sorcerer. It's the art is the Mickey Mouse from Fantasia. Just fully there, and it says resist 1, shift 3 for Mickey's, 3/4 that quests for 2, 5 mana, and then when you play this character, deal damage equal to chosen character equal to the number of broom characters you have in play. Just more extra random synergies for the broom deck.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's going to be other unique cards in the Ursula deck. Maybe that's where we get like the 1-drop broom, just like if these are little decks that you get to play with out of the box.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's got a very steel effect. Enter, kill something, or banish something, I should say. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. The other big announcement as far as characters go is set 3 is gonna be the first set with Encanto cards.
Set 4.
Set 4. Sorry. Yes. Set 4, Ursula's Revenge, will be the first set with Encanto cards, which is very exciting. I love that movie.
Yeah.
And then we got a few more big spoilers today. The big one that I think is really cool is Aerial Sonic Warrior. That one is a 6 inkable 3/8 Floodborn that shifts 4 for aerials. First shiftable aerial. Quest for 2, and when you play a song, you may pay 2 to deal 3 damage to a chosen character.
Okay. So we finally have something to shift onto 3-drop aerial from set 1.
Yep.
It costs 6, so you can sing every song except for Be Prepared in the game.
Basically,
so, yeah. There's definitely some deck building ideas that come to mind immediately with this card. So
I mean, Steel Song is one of the most popular decks in the game.
Yep.
And it's just another card that goes in that deck, does kind of the same thing the rest of the deck is doing. It's all small amber characters that shift into big steel characters.
Yep. And 8 toughness. I mean, that's or 8 willpower, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't know. That's going to be hard to get rid of.
Yeah, I agree. 8 willpower is massive. We've seen that with stuff like McDuck Manor being at 9, and even stuff like Magic the Mirror Chamber with 7.
Yeah.
Pretty hard to get off the table.
Right. And there's like some older characters, Ursula, from set 1. But that was
the 2/8.
That cost 7.
Yeah.
This costs 4 potentially.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean this card could definitely come in and have a really high impact on the board. So.
For sure. It's also really interesting coming off of set 3 with the Pongo not Pongo, the Pluto into Pluto, because that was a 5 for a 3/8. Shift for Pluto Determined Hero.
Okay.
And so this is one cheaper for a similar sized body, and I think it's just a massive body to get on the table.
Yeah, for sure. It's a pretty exciting card.
Yeah. And then the other legendary type card, the Ariel's a super rare, but the other legendary we saw was Ursula herself. Got spoiled after the announcement on the app. 7 inkable for a 4/7 with shift 5 for Ursula's. Quest for 3. Whenever this character quests, exert chosen character, and other characters can't exert to sing songs. Stealing voices left and right.
A very, very hard counter to Ariel.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, the flavor's awesome, but I mean, that card could. I mean, I could just think about the Ruby Amethyst right now, and I think about it already kind of has an edge in Ember Steel, but this thing kind of just locks out Steel Song.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, like the fact that you can't sing your Strength of Raging Fires or your Along Came Zeus's, and you're having to pay full retail for them to get this thing off the table. Definitely changes the math quite a bit. Also, being a 4/7 is a really good stat line. Like 4 strength is just so important now with Madame Medusa being everywhere. So
yeah, it'll avoid being taken out by Madame Medusa. It also just, I mean, I mean, given that Ariel's an eight willpower character, like we just talked about her, but there still are most cards in the game are going to be challenged by a 4 strength character and not win that fight.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, this thing, it also quests for 3. So even if you're not challenging and you just quest, it's just one of those things where it's like, well, you have to deal with this or it's going to win the game real fast.
I mean, that's what we saw with 7-drop Ursula from set 1.
Yeah.
Like the first chapter, a lot of times you would just play that on the table and you just couldn't deal with an 8 willpower character and you just quest for 3 like 4 turns in a row and kill them.
Yeah. Especially when you paired it with its buddy in set 1 of Elsa.
Yeah. Yep. But I'm pretty excited. It also gives a bigger payoff if you're playing something like Emerald, Amethyst with Deceiver of All.
Yeah.
You can like sing your songs and then like protect the thing by shifting this on there, and then they can't sing their songs back at you.
Man, this card seems like it's gonna be pretty prevalent.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna see this card a lot.
Yeah, I would hope so. I would like to see the big bad of the set be playable for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that one goes.
Cool.
Yeah, but the rest of the spoilers, there's some other neat stuff. I would suggest definitely going and checking them out, especially like the Encanto cards that they all kind of synergize really well.
Yeah.
But we're not going to go over all of them. But next thing is the big announcement for the day: the challenge series coming to Lorcana.
I'm excited. There's so many things I'm excited about the challenge series. So, from what we know, these are going to be larger format tournaments. There will be a cap of 512 people, from what we've heard, and the first events are in Atlanta and Chicago, coming up in about 2 months.
Yep. About the same time Set 4 launches is when those things are going to start kicking off. So be looking forward to getting your Set 4 cards and then immediately jumping into some high-level competitive play. So one of the things that they decided to address with going to this big challenge format and series is they wanted to address the problem that Lorcana can sometimes run into of going to time in rounds. Best of 3 with all the control decks running around, the Ruby Amethyst mirrors. Rounds go to time a lot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, best of 1 doesn't always feel satisfying. You play one game, sometimes bad stuff happens, and you just don't get a good game out of it, and you feel really bad when your tournament's over because you just got unlucky a couple times.
Right.
So to solve that, they have invented a new format that kind of follows like soccer rules in like actual sports. Where you play 2 games, both players will get a chance to be on the play, and then if you both win one, you both get 1 match point.
Right.
And if you happen to win both of the games, then you get 3 match points, and the other person gets 0 match points.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely an interesting take. I'm actually a fan of it. Even just the exhaustion factor of playing out 3 games, but this will let matches finish faster. Another conversation that was happening too is it doesn't encourage intentional drawing, which is like I think a lot of people feel differently about intentional drawing, but I think it's overall, in my opinion, a bit healthier for people to just play their games.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, and when you're incentivized to get 3 points for going 2-0, and that might really determine seeding and stuff for those later rounds, especially when they go to the top cut in day 2. Yeah. Like, you're going to be wanting to play out those matches a lot more frequently, I agree.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think is really interesting, and one of the things that I think they really did a good job with this is you're going to get paired against people at your skill level a lot faster in a tournament. So if you go 2-0 in your first round, you're at 3 points. You're going to get paired against another 3-pointer. If you manage to 2-0 them, you're at 6 points. You're going to be paired against other 6-pointers. And the competition is just going to heat up faster. And then, say you're both at 6 points. You're both good players. Then you go 1-1. Now you're both at 7. And by getting paired against those players faster, you're going to wind up making a more even tournament spread, and more people that are at an equal skill level are going to be paired against each other more frequently.
Okay.
Which I think is kind of neat.
Yeah, yeah.
They also mentioned a lot about like In best of 3, sometimes the less experienced players don't actually feel like they won anything, even if they won one of the 3 games, because you didn't win the match. So this format lets you, at the end of the tournament, even if you didn't make day 2, you didn't top cut, you can be like, I made 6 points this time. And then you go back to your next challenge, you go, I made 8 points this time, I know that I improved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a good feeling. That's good for people that, well, it's good for everyone really, but it's definitely good for people that are new and want to try but don't want to be pushed out and then kind of not want to come back. Like that's what everyone wants to avoid.
Yeah. I think they also mentioned a couple of like points-based incentives that they might have during day 1s and stuff. Like if you get to a certain amount of points, you might get some amount, something. I think I remember them mentioning something about that.
Yeah, they mentioned it. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I don't think they really went into detail about it, but that's also really neat for those newer players that are just like there and they're like, I want to just get as many points as I can, and just see how it goes. Especially because like currently in some of those tournament formats, you lose like your first 2 rounds and you're just like, okay, I'm dropping and just leave.
Yeah.
So incentivizing people to play more Lorcana is a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then we heard some extremely exciting news about what you get going to a challenge.
That's true. Some new full art promos that look stunning.
Yeah.
So everyone who goes and plays in a challenge will get a full art foil Dragonfire.
Yep.
They picked that one, A, because it's an awesome card, and B, because it was the first action ever spoiled in the game.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Just love that card.
Yeah.
And then if you go to top 64, you get a full art foil Let It Go.
Which looks incredible.
Yeah, looks incredible, and also just one of the most iconic Lorcana cards, I think, to date. Everyone knows Let It Go. Everyone loves the song. In set 1 meta, it was a perfectly, just a powerful card.
Yeah, it was good.
It still sees play from time to time now, but, yeah.
It's still, the card looks good enough that I'm not even worried about playing it. I just want to look at it.
That's
it's
true.
The pictures of it look great.
Yeah, and it's going to be a great collector piece for sure.
For sure, yeah.
So that is top 64. I think they also mentioned that that's going to just be anyone who makes day 2 will get one of those.
Right.
Even if
64 is like a rough estimate.
Yeah. Generally, those tournaments cut to top 64, and it's just like whoever's tied with 64th will make day 2 also.
Okay.
So yeah, and then we get to top 32, which will be a new full art foil Cinderella Stout-Hearted.
Which this one's cool because it has new artwork. It's not an altered old artwork. It's new and it looks really cool too.
Yes, it looks great. And it kind of answers the question of like, why didn't Cinderella Stout-Hearted get an enchanted?
Yeah.
Because everyone was like, what? That card's awesome.
Yeah, it was like the perfect candidate.
Yeah, and then it just didn't have one. They had Pete Bad Guy instead.
Yeah.
And now we know why, because they were saving it for this.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great reward for playing well. So
yeah,
I think we're going to see a lot of good competition out of these things.
And then moving right along to top 16, you get a full art foil Rapunzel gifted with healing.
Yep. Also new art.
One of the best cards in the game. One of the most popular cards in the game.
Yep. Also didn't get an enchanted.
I wonder why. But yeah, that one's going to be super exciting. And then they took the same artwork that they have for the new one and made it into a playmat that you get for top 8ing.
Yes, and apparently the playmat is foil too, so it's gonna look special. I'm curious to see one. It's gonna look very good. I know it's gonna look good.
Yes,
but I want to see one in person.
I agree. And I kind of agree with what they said on the stream of like when you whip out that playmat at your locals, people are gonna know. They're gonna be like,
okay,
that person. They top 8'd a challenge. Like, whoa. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
And then the creme de la creme, the top of the heap. If you get to top 4 in a Lorcana challenge, you make it all the way, you'll get a serialized golden Mickey Mouse Brave Little Tailor.
Also with new art. Although they didn't spoil that one. They want to keep that one a secret.
Yeah.
Which
makes sense.
That's okay.
Yeah. Lorcana likes their secrets. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. yeah, I'm very excited for that one. Those are going to be so cool. I can't wait to see them and see like how many there are, how rare they are.
Yeah, I imagine just getting one of the first ones at this tournament in Atlanta coming up. Like, oh man, that's gonna feel so great.
Yeah.
I don't know who's gonna get it. Of the
Mhm.
4 people that are gonna get it, but that's gonna be such an
Yeah,
oh man.
yeah. It's definitely something worth striving for, and it's going to be really, really sweet for the people that get it.
Yeah.
They mentioned one thing on the stream about that. They were like, it's going to be really cool because when they're numbered like that, say they do go on market, like you don't want to keep it. You're like, this is too much money. I would rather just sell it to someone else. People will still know that was your brave little tailor. Like
True.
they know number 3 belonged to so and so.
True.
Which is kind of neat.
Yeah,
It's
that
like a
is
little
cool.
bit of built-in Lorcana tournament history.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Lorcana, as the Peanut Gallery has said. But yeah, I think that's basically all of the big news.
hmm It's really exciting stuff. I mean, it's cool that I suppose it's about time to start hearing about Set 4 or whatever, but the direction they're going with the story and stuff, where they be giving us these little crumbs, like these breadcrumbs, to figure out, what's been going on, and now we have this big villain, and, what's next? I don't know. I'm still curious what's happening, but what's next? Where are we going? There's so many things to do. It's so awesome. Like,
For sure. I'm definitely excited for the story. I'm excited to get more of that. I'm excited to see when the Lumineers that are in like the videos and stuff become cards, and like we get to see the characters that they've created like interact with the game board,
Yeah. Because right now they're just like kind of characters in the videos. But it's been the same characters, right?
Yeah, we've had like the same 4-ish in like most of the videos.
Okay.
So yeah, it'll be really neat because eventually they're gonna have like launch in set 2 was the first card that like doesn't feature any Disney specific things. So obviously they're open to doing that. It's just a matter of more when than if.
That's something they talked about earlier in the Lorecast was a lot of the new cards that they showed actually have flavor text related to the story happening in Lorcana. It's not just like
quotes from the
movies and stuff. So yeah, I mean they're really expanding on that storytelling, which is that's fun. That's awesome. It keeps people engaged.
Right. Yeah. People. It's fun to look at Pongo and be like, I recognize Pongo from 101 Dalmatians, but it's also really cool to have something uniquely Lorcana.
Yeah.
To like attach yourself to and just be like, I want to see where this goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Yeah.
Exciting stuff.
Thank y'all for listening and sticking around. And we'll do this again. I'm sure whenever there's other things you want to talk about. This is a big news day, so obviously we want to get this out there. But yeah, thank y'all for tuning in.
Yeah. Thanks everyone. Catch you next time.